It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you for being here. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh, with another day, another opportunity to talk to you, the community. Let's get straight into it. Starting off with this week in Laker football. Now, as the West Bloomfield Lakers football team prepare for their next battle, they put more focus specifically on their defense. And one of their young leaders on defense is actually dedicated to stepping up and making an example. And our very own Tyler Keefe has a story.
Well, the defense has been a highlight for the Lakers so far this season, but it's a younger defense, which means guys like you have had a couple of years now on varsity are stepping into leadership roles. Talk about how you've been able to embrace that this season and take some of those younger players, those newer varsity players under your wing.
With the guys that were from last year, all the senior guys and all the guys who mentored me from now, it helped me become a better player and a better leader because, as you know, I am a junior captain, so it helped me become a better leader to lead the guys on the defense and to help the younger guys who just got up here to play better and to know their job and know their assignment and do what they have to do.
And that secondary in particular, it's a tough task because it is where the majority of the youth on this defense is. The line is pretty well set and has some experienced guys there, so does the linebacking core. So then how do you incorporate that mentorship into this season while also still focusing on really tough opponents that you've had these first 5 weeks, particularly in the receiving cores?
Yeah, most of the teams that we go against are usually running teams, but with the defensive backcourt, we focus on all our wide receivers, no matter who they is, no matter what team we're going against. And we want the guys who know what they're doing to be out on the field and the guys who know how to make plays to be out on the field most of the time. So mentoring them is really easy because they're my friends outside of football and outside of school. So mentoring them and being with them and bringing them up is pretty easy, and they ball players, so they do what they had to do to get us a job done.
I'd imagine for you, having those players like you kind of alluded to earlier on over the past couple of years, like Jameer and like Blaze Rowe, and before them, Adrian Epps, as sort of those role models, has to be helpful for you, especially given the experience that you've had over the last couple of years, particularly last year coming into your role. Yeah. So how did their influence help you provide your influence to these players this season?
All of them guys like Jameer and Bryce, they mean a word to me. I mean, I still train with them when they come back home now, and I still be with them when they come back home now. They still call me sometimes from time to time and talk to me about my technique and what I did in the game. So them mentoring me helped me with a lot, and just them being my big brother, also outside of football, helped me become the man that I am on the field and off the field today.
Over the past couple of weeks, it's been kind of a tale of feast and famine for your defense. Last week going up against Brady Beck and that receiving core with Clarkston, a really tough task, whereas the week before, guys like Tawan Esper of Southfield A&T, a tough guy to guard on any given week. Seemed like you guys had a lot of success there. So how do you kind of take the good and the bad from the last 2 weeks and make sure your guys are staying focused, your teammates are staying focused on a still very tough schedule ahead from the secondary?
Being a DB, you got to have a short memory out here. So we usually come with a short memory, and we come ready to play ball every week no matter who we go against because we know that we got the guys to make the plays out on the field, and we know that we got the scheme to make the plays out on the field. So no matter whether it's Clarkston, Lake Orion, we just want to come out there and make plays against their wide receivers and still be able to play in the run game also.
Will Espy with us, junior safety here for the West Bloomfield Lakers. 15 tackles over the last 2 weeks, including 9 solo tackles against Clarkston and against Southfield A&T. For you, what do you think's been the difference maker in being able to not only take a step forward from a leadership standpoint, but as we just mentioned, from the playmaking standpoint and make some really key plays for the Lakers against its tough schedule this season?
Everything that's come now has all been done in the offseason. So the work in the offseason, the mentors that I've been put on, the work that I put in, all of it has came from December, January, March, all of those times. And making plays is really just something that I've been doing in my life, you know what I'm saying? So just making plays, it comes natural to me. And it's also the scheme that Coach Cam and Coach Ryan help us with every single week, and we just follow it every single week, and that helped me make plays.
For those young players coming up in this Lakers system, whether they're JV, freshmen, or they're playing at the middle school level, or even just starting their football careers and looking up to you guys, what's the best piece of advice you have for them on how they can turn their game into high-level football like you and your teammates are playing at the varsity level here at West Bloomfield?
Put the work in and know the scheme. The scheme is everything, because if you don't know the scheme and you don't know what you're doing on the field, you won't be able to play fast, because knowing what you're doing on the field, it helps you play way more faster than you think your body can even go. And also the work. You got to put the work in the off season, and even during the season, during practice like we're about to go to, you still have to put the work in. You still got to play like every day is your last day.
We want to get you out to practice here, so I'll take another minute with you. And I know we'd like to get to know the players a little bit, get to know their interests outside of football. But I want to take and turn that on its head a little bit. What other activities or other interests do you have outside of football that ultimately come back to help you on the football field each Friday?
Me and my friends, we like to go out. We like to go outside. We like to go bowling. We like to do a lot of these things, and it helps us with focus and with being able to have fun, even though you're trying to be competitive. So the game is all about having fun at the end of the day, because it's a game. But you also got to be competitive and try to win at any given moment, and be able to put your all in at any given moment. And being with my friends outside, that helps me, make those things happen. Yeah.
We've got another very competitive week coming up at West Bloomfield High School. Lake Orion coming in next week. Then it's Oxford the week after that, both with equally great wide receiving corps. It's going to be a challenge for Will and the fellas in the secondary of these next couple weeks. Seems like they're up to that challenge. Will, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great interview from Tyler Keefe, getting in deep into our Laker football team, specifically talking about defense and one of their young leaders, Will Espy. You can watch that entire interview again and pick that apart. It's directly on our website, civiccentertv.com. Click on the On-Demand tab, and we'll have that ready for you later on today, by the way. Speaking of West Bloomfield High School students in general, did you know today, October 2nd, is Count Day right here in Michigan. In case you don't know, Count Day is when schools tally the number of students that attend that school, and that actually goes into the resources that they will receive as a result of that. To break that down a little bit more, provide more information, details on that, joining us right here live on The Splash from West Bloomfield School District, we have Data and Pupil Accounting Manager Sylvia Mcoy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I want to kind of get
Count Day.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you for being there and taking time to be with us today. First and foremost, from the West Bloomfield School District's perspective, how does Count Day specifically impact the funding for WBSD?
Well, for WBSD and for many of the districts throughout the state of Michigan, student attendance is very important on Count Day because that determines what our district funding is from the state. Mm-hmm. Some of the challenges is assuring, that we have accuracy with that. So today is very important that we try to capture all of our students on Count Day, because that will determine the start of what our funding will be for our various programs.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much, I don't want to say self-explanatory, but it is something that growing up in Michigan schools, I've heard of, I know about. So yes, they count up the number of students in these schools, school districts, and that as a result reflects the funding and resources, like we said, we get from the state. Great information. It's not always easiest just to get everyone to attend school on a specific day or any given day. With that being said, can you describe any strategies, initiatives that the school or school district has in place to try to encourage students to show up?
Oh, absolutely. But even the state recognizes that as well, because on Count Day, there's no guarantee that a student's not going to be ill or have other plans, something in the family, whatever the situation is. Yeah. So the laws protect us where we have a 30-day window, 10 if it's unexcused, 30 if it's excused, to get that student back into school, because attendance is so important. And one of the things that's beautiful about West Bloomfield School Districts, it's not just Count Day. We stress how important attendance is at all times. Right. I've been with this district just a few years. I've worked in other districts. This district is very excited about having their students come into, school, and the students feel it too. They want to be there. But again, to be sure that we capture everybody, the laws are put in place so that we can capture students that do miss today. I mean, I can hear the children playing outside my window right now, nice. The little ones. So it's a wonderful thing.
I love that. I'm going to be honest with you. I was expecting maybe, hey, if you come to school today, you get free pizza or chips or snacks or something, some type of initiative. But it's not necessary. At the end of the day, go to school. You're there to learn, so I completely get it. You shouldn't need an initiative or incentive for that. With us right here live on The Splash, from West Bloomfield School District Data and Pupil Accounting Manager Sylvia Mcoy, talking about today being Count Day, its importance and its purpose. Continuing on with that, how do you feel Count Day influences the long-term decision-making within West Bloomfield School District?
Well, as the data manager for West Bloomfield School District, data is extremely important. Data, makes a lot of those decisions, and you have to look at years of data sometimes for those long-term decisions. And we watch the trends through the data, what is happening in our district, and what influences that, and why these changes have happened, and that leads us to where we're going to go to next. So I keep track of a lot of this data and share with all my constituents, when they're making decisions, data-driven decisions on what's best for this district. And it's even helped us. I can give an example for this year. As you know, West Bloomfield School District has redistricted. We had K-2 schools and 3-5 schools.
Correct.
Now we're K through 5. Well, data helped make that transition a little smoother when we did this big change, so that we could determine where our families needed to go. So we could determine who would get the best services at which school that provided, so we could do our staff and put them in the proper place. That was all data driven.
Ah, okay. I like that. Yeah, using that data to kind of build off of and use that to go forward. You don't use it was some type of ism I used to hear, that numbers don't lead, they follow. They reflect what has been done, and you use that to kind of make decisions going forward. And I love the way that you put that, especially in your position as data and pupil accounting manager also. I want to know, from your experience, right, do you have any specific examples of how fluctuation in student numbers on Count Day specifically has or could potentially affect the programs or services in the past?
Well, I've seen it in the past where it can determine, for instance, your numbers can affect like how many economically disadvantaged that you have, or your numbers are down. Okay, they're not there. That can determine, the funding for your lunch, your breakfast, whatever. We know as the state of Michigan has changed and we're feeding everybody, right? That's the proper thing to do. But that's just a small example. A lot of times when it comes to even like getting the curriculum and information for certain groups that you're working with, you need those numbers so that you get the information that you need. Kind of caught me off guard because I don't want to go into all kinds I could do this all day, all kinds of specifics, but it does matter. Those numbers matter very much, very much.
Nope, 100%. And I get it also, like we said, Count Day is meant to make sure now we're not over accommodating schools that don't have as many students, or we're not under accommodating students in certain school districts also. And that's all, like we said, based on the numbers and the fluctuation of that also. With us right here live on The Splash from West Bloomfield School District Data and Pupil Accounting Manager Sylvia Mcoy. Just talking about the importance of Count Day being today, October 2nd, by the way. Now, we know everyone's situation is different. Are there any specific challenges faced by certain groups of students attending school? Maybe if they're coming from low income or maybe handicapped or dealing with some type of handicap?
Well, to begin with, it's a challenge just in any situation, correct? Okay. Well, the most important piece is that you recognize that. Your data tells you who you have, and then you put the programs and the initiatives and the right people in place to assist those groups and those challenges so that they're just as successful as anybody that doesn't have those specific challenges, that the same opportunities are afforded to them as it is to everybody in the district. And we do have great things in place. We have for McKinney-Vento, if you're not familiar, that's for homeless students. We do have that in here in our school district. And even though it's a small population for us, they have the same amount and equal treatment as anybody in throughout the district. So that's the important part about data, is it tells you who your groups are, and that we as a staff and administrators and building, we have our social workers, etc., are given the opportunity to work with these students and give them equal opportunity for everything.
There we go. I love to hear that right there. I love that right there. That sounds so good. Helping out the students in need, just to make sure there's a level playing field, and then we can get everyone in here. I love that, first and foremost. Another quick important question just came up to me, Sylvia. The parents perspective of this. We're doing our job right now to let everyone know about Count Day, but how are you in the school district communicating and engaging with the parents to get them on board with Count Day?
Well, that's the beauty of technology, is the way I look at it, because most parents are working, and communication is key. Communication is very important. So we have all of our principals have excellent skill sets in creating electronic newsletters. We have a great program that we use called Final Sight to communicate to all our parents, where we can use social media as well, like Facebook and Instagram and s'mores newsletters. This is done weekly. We keep on top of those things. And our parents, I love how involved the parents are in West Bloomfield District. They gather around, they're strong in our PTOs. So this is a wonderful thing. But communication with the technology is key, and that is the best way that we reach out to all our families.
Meet people where they are. That's what I just essentially heard. If they're on Facebook, we're on Facebook telling you about it. They're on Instagram, we're telling you about it on Instagram. They're on it, whatever the case may be. That's essentially what I heard. And that's what you want. Make sure that message gets out no matter where or what. Just a few more questions, lastly but least. This is very important, right? What role do you see Count Day, or how do you see the role of Count Day evolving, especially in situations where more people are doing online learning, hybrid learning, or even homeschooling?
Well, we do have those. We do have students that do homeschool, and that is allowed, and they're allowed to take non-essential courses, and we still collect an FTE. But as far as where it's going in the future, I find that it's going to be live data. All this information is going to happen because the connections between all the various departments in education in Michigan is slowly coming together, like the different departments are talking to each other. So the data is becoming more and more live. So we will literally have our database manager recording everything that day, and it's going right to the state that day. And so it's a constant. We share data with different important informational groups that even parents have access to, like the Michigan Data Hub, and it's all based on this Count Day reporting, where they can see what the various groups and what's going on, and we're transparent about that information. So I see it moving technology. There's very live data. I guess is the best way to put it.
And it makes sense now that you say it. I mean, everything's evolving and integrating technology into it. That way we're getting results faster and things of that nature. So it makes sense exactly what you said. I didn't even think about things like that. But overall, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your message. Any additional message that you want to get out to our community regarding Count Day or West Bloomfield School District in general?
Well, this is a great district, and I know it's going to go smooth for us, and we'll get it done. And I just want to thank you for having me today. It was wonderful.
Oh, no, thank you. The pleasure is all mine. Once again, from West Bloomfield School District Data and Pupil Accounting Manager Sylvia Mcoy, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So once again, October 2nd, today is Count Day. If you are watching this, your child should be in school right now. Make sure they're getting that head count. So we'll continuously keep you updated with things that are necessary and required right here in our local community. That way we can all benefit from different resources. Now today also, we do want to point out, is National Custodian Appreciation Day, a time to recognize and celebrate the hard work and dedication of custodial staff in our schools, workplaces, and communities in general. Let's not take them for granted. Even here at Green Studio Civic Center TV, we want to thank our custodians here also. They play a vital role in maintaining clean, safe, and healthy environments for everyone, often working behind the scenes to ensure everything runs smoothly, by the way, from cleaning classrooms and offices to maintaining facilities. Their contributions are invaluable. So join West Bloomfield School District if you're watching on CivicCenterTV.com right now. Celebrating their custodians. Drop a like or a comment on their Facebook post. Right now, you're seeing a few pictures from some of their custodians right now. On Facebook, West Bloomfield Schools. That's Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools. And also tell your custodian at your job and at your home that you appreciate them also. Physical activity, very, very common right here in Oakland County, but physical activity has an event coming up for our local senior residents. It's held on by WB Parks, by the way, and it'll be Friday, October 18th, 12 noon to 1 p.m. at the Connect Senior Center for Exercise Your Mind. Behavioral Health. That's the name of the event. Now, Dr. Pramita Roy Choudhury, family medicine physician and medical director of inpatient behavior for Henry Ford Kingswood Hospital, she'll actually be joining to speak on the impact of nutrition, exercise, sleep, and more on behavioral health throughout one's life. Very important information that we all should be focusing on, essentially. This program includes a boxed lunch, and pre-registration is required. Seems like a great thing to do for our seniors right here in the local greater West Bloomfield community. Please pre-register by going directly to the website for WB Parks, and that's wbparks.org for more information regarding that. We care about our seniors, we care about our people and our citizens. And speaking of people and humans, Human Library. It's an event coming to West Bloomfield Township Public Library, as a matter of fact. And with us right here live on The Splash to give us a little bit more detail about this very unique event at our local library, we have from West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Marketing and Communications Specialist, Victoria Edwards, joining us. And first and foremost, thank you, Victoria. And let's just start off by telling us the details of this event and its purpose, please.
Yeah, so this is an event where you come into the library, at the main library here at West Bloomfield, and instead of checking out a book, you can check out a person. So you can borrow a person for like a 30-minute conversation. And each of the people that we have as a volunteer book is somebody who's experienced some form of discrimination, a stigma, a prejudice, stereotyping, something related to part of their identity. And so you can talk with them, learn more about their identity, their life experiences, and ask questions. Questions are encouraged. So this is more of like a conversation than you would get with a normal book if you were to just pick them off the shelf.
Okay. I like this. So we got to get into how this even came about. What inspired the West Bloomfield Township Library to collaborate with, I believe, the Human Library, which is an organization overall for this event?
Yes, the Human Library Organization is an international organization that hosts these events, often at public libraries around the world. And this is something that makes a lot of sense for West Bloomfield. You know, given the interests in our communities, we have a lot of people who like to attend cultural events here, who like to learn more about other people, other cultures, other experiences. And so this event, it feels like a really natural fit in this community. It's something that I've attended before, and I've been involved with Human Library events before I started working here at West Bloomfield. So when I proposed the idea, it felt like a natural fit to everybody else here too.
Nice. I'm glad everyone was on board. This is my first time hearing about it, and I'm like, as you're describing, I'm like, wow, that is an interesting concept, and I like that we're bringing that to our local community. And with us right here live on The Splash from the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Marketing and Communication Specialist, Victoria Edwards. Now I'm interested to know how you all selected your human books for the Human Library, if you want to call it that. What's that selection process about? What's the criteria for people that are the human books?
Yeah, so we had an application on our website that people could submit just to let us know that they were interested in participating. It is voluntary, so we tell everybody, you know, it's at will. You can leave anytime if it seems stressful or if, you know, you're not feeling well the day of the event. But we do have sort of a selection process. So we do a bit of an interview after everybody completes the application, just to make sure that they understand what we're asking of them, what the event is, and that they're comfortable being asked questions and talking about their life story. It's not something that everybody's comfortable with.
True.
We have to make sure that if they've been through some traumatic experiences, that they've processed those, they're at a point in their lives where they can speak to that comfortably. So that's something that we're really careful about. We also want to make sure that people aren't there to, advertise their business or a book that they've written or, something like that.
Good point.
This is more of a place for genuine, civic conversation and dialogue.
Oh, man.
So it's a bit of an interview process, but it's wonderful. And sometimes through the process, people might say, I'm not totally comfortable with this actually, or we might feel that they might be a better fit as a reader or in a different role. Okay. But I'm really excited about the volunteers we have this year. They're amazing.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I can only imagine the conversations, the connections are going to be made there. With that being said, you said you've done this before. Are there any memories that you can share with us from any of the past events?
Yeah, my best memories of it are when I've been able to come in as a reader. So
Okay.
I've never served as a book. I've always only been an organizer or a reader for a human library group.
Okay.
And when you come in as a reader, I mean, you come up to the desk, you see what titles are available, and you can wait for a title if one's not available and you want to wait a little longer, you can do that too. But you get to pick from the list. You can ask for advice in selecting, who you think might be a good conversation partner for you
Okay.
too. Librarians are always happy to help with that. But
Okay.
I remember one time when I was a reader, the one that stands out to me most was I read a story about somebody who had been a teen mom, and she had put herself through a GED program and everything else after giving birth in order to give her child the best quality of life. And the stories that I heard from her, I can't describe, I guess, because it's really something that you only get out of one-on-one conversations.
Yeah.
And when you get to know somebody who's been through something like that, it can change your perspective.
Yep.
I didn't realize before I went into that conversation that I had some prejudices about that and that I had some associations, but it was really a learning curve for her. I think at one point she said that, she kind of had to be more of an adult in her life than some of the adults in her life, because some of the things that they were saying to her and the stigmas that she was experiencing from, teachers and trusted adults.
I know what you mean by that now. Okay. Wow.
Yes, yeah. So it was a learning curve. And every conversation I have with a human book, I learned something.
Yeah.
These volunteers are wonderful, and their stories are amazing to hear.
Oh my goodness. Like, I love that for so many different reasons. First and foremost, on the outside surface level of people, you can think a million different things. Like being in West Bloomfield, you think everyone is rich, or everyone has a lot of money, everyone's doing well, they don't have, but you sit and have a conversation with someone, you'd be surprised what it took for them to get to where they are, or what they're actually going through now, and you'll have a different level of compassion for them, and you'll even find common ground in some of those areas, and it'll make you build that connection. So, man, I'm just floored by that experience, just overall the connection and the purpose of this event. With us right here live on The Splash, Marketing Communication Specialist for West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Victoria Edwards, talking about the Human Library event on October 5th. Don't want to hold you up too much longer. Do want to ask you just a couple more questions. What do you want people to take away from attending this event?
The biggest thing, like you say, is kind of that connection. We had somebody last year who we do a little survey at the end of it for all of our volunteer books and all of our readers as well, if they'd like to fill out a survey. And somebody said that they had a genuine aha moment, and that's my goal. Is for people to build, either to find a relation at that point of commonality between them and somebody that they think they might not have as many commonalities with, or to just learn something about somebody who had a very different experience from them and kind of relate on that human level. So.
Right. Yeah, I really actually like this event, and I really want to take the time to find time to go there myself, because I'm interested in seeing this, and I like to have those personal conversations with people, and sometimes it's those uncomfortable conversations where it's necessary and it builds that connection. But lastly, before we go, with that being said, are there any possible future plans to extend or even evolve this specific event in the future?
One thing is that we're always trying to make sure that we stay in line with the Human Library Organization, since we kind of license the concept and the name from them.
Okay.
And they provide us with a lot of support, training materials and stuff like that as well. So we have to stay in line with their mission and some of their regulations and stuff around making sure that we have a lot of diversity, but they're always very focused on making sure that every community is different and that we're catering our event to our community. So that's already something that we're able to do in line with that. This is actually the second time that we're offering this event. We did it for the first time ever last year, I think in August timeframe. So it's been a little over a year since our last one, and we're excited to hopefully continue offering it.
Oh man, Victoria, good luck with preparing and getting this and actually executing this event. Like I said, if I can find the time, I promise you I'll be there. I can't wait for it. But thank you again for your time. Marketing and communication specialist for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Victoria Edwards. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much. And thanks to the Friends of the Library for helping us sponsor this event too.
Yes, thank you to the Friends of the Library for West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Yes, we appreciate that. Very, very interesting. If you want to get to know some of the residents right here in the greater West Bloomfield area just a little bit more, ask some of those questions, know their story, this is the event for you. Human Library, October 5th at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. For more, go directly to their Facebook, West Bloom LIB, or you can go directly to the website, wblib.org. Looking forward to that great event, like we said, that'll be October 5th, Saturday at our West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Thank you again to Victoria Edwards for her time to talk about that very briefly. There's plenty more to do right here in our local community, including your last chance to walk through a local school. We'll talk about that later. Right now, we are live, local social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from Orchard Lake, Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Hello, I'm Chief Mike Patton of the West Bloomfield Township Police Department. We're here to say congratulations to Civic Center TV on their 1 million YouTube views here in the community. We enjoy great partnership with Civic Center TV. They are one of our best community partners. I'm Chief Mike Patton. I'm proud to be one in a million.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. Now, there will be an opportunity for you and the community to do a final walkthrough of Chico Elementary, which will officially be closing its doors to the public on Monday, October 7th. So with this special event, giving you an opportunity to walk through, go through some memories, and walk through with your children also for the most recent school they possibly went through. So our very own Tyler Keefe had an opportunity to talk to principal of Chico Elementary School, Blaine McDowell, about this final walkthrough event.
You know, I could not be more proud of our students and our staff and our families. It was a big move. Our teachers have made the building look absolutely gorgeous with all of their finishing touches. We have had huge support from our custodial staff and Ted Stinson and Jamie Stadelmeyer and all of central office to make sure everything was up and running to just help the transition be as smooth as possible. So we couldn't be more grateful. Families have been beyond amazing with their support and, you know, just coming in for tours and meetings so that everyone feels as comfortable as possible. All of the transition activities that we've done in really over a year leading up to this move, I do feel like have really helped, and parents have really been really have shown their gratefulness and have sent emails and called and just in person could not be any more warm and loving. So as a staff, we are just really thankful.
And what's great about this particular class of K through 5 students at Chico that are in this new building right now is for the kids on the older side, I would presume it's a nice little transition from a smaller building, an elementary school building, into what used to be a middle school facility as they approach their middle school years coming up either next year or in the years ahead. And for the younger students, it's going to bring them in right away, and then by the time you're transitioning out, you'll have that new building there. So it kind of helps, I would think, set the tone at this new school and get ready for that next transition. Is that the case?
Absolutely. I never really thought about it like that, but it's very true. I'm very fortunate that I was the STEAM teacher and dean of students right here at Abbott and Orchard Lake when we combined. So it has been great to already be familiar with the building. And yes, we are really loving the space. That has really been as far as being a temporary location, you couldn't ask for better. So that part has been super good. The little ones are finding their way around. I do feel like it will really help the 4th and 5th graders transition to the middle school when they get to that point. Like you said, just because it is a bigger space, and our little ones will get to be in that beautiful brand new building. So lots of excitement all around.
And the Chico Farewell Tour, that's going to be coming up here in just a little while. Monday, October 7th at 5 p.m. You'll be able to take a walk through the building one more time and celebrate that former building that for a long time was Chico Elementary School, and before that was Green Elementary School. What can we expect from this tour? What's going to be going on that evening as we commemorate this building that's built so many memories for so many generations in our community?
Definitely, and including myself. I was a teacher at Green under Kathy Chico, who's in that picture with me, for 21 years before I went to the middle school and then became principal at Chico. So for the community, if you are wanting to see some of your favorite teachers, I know that a lot of the teachers will be there, including some of the retired teachers. We will have lots of, pictures and some treats, and just really a time of being together, so that you really can take some pictures if you want. It's not all decorated beautiful like when teachers are there, because it's just like when you move out of a home, it's an empty building, but it is really special to be able to just walk the halls of where you've been. And like for the neighbors that are nearby, like that school has been in their backyard for some of them for as long as they've lived there. So it's really nice to be able to just have that chance to have closure on that building. And really, there will be pictures of what the new building will look like. So if people want to sneak peek, they'll be able to see those pictures as well.
As you mentioned, you taught under Kathy Chico when she was the principal at Green Elementary School. After her retirement, after many years as the principal there, the school was renamed in her honor. What's her thoughts on this brand new school that's going to be going up there, state of the art, have her name on it, and this interesting time that you all have to make this change in our community?
Definitely. I mean, she couldn't be more supportive. If you know Kathy Chico, she is a boots on the ground, does a million things for our community. Still, she runs Fueling Kids Futures and helps to provide food for families in the community. She is a cheerleader for all things West Bloomfield. For me personally, she is my West Bloomfield mom. She, I student taught in her building and was so excited to get a job under her, so that it makes me super emotional because I just adore her, love her, respect her, and that I am the principal at the building named after someone I love and respect, as much. And, like my parents, it's a very humbling experience, and I am completely just so blessed to be a part of it. So Kathy is, she's a cheerleader for all, and she is super excited. She also is a very humble person. She still calls the school green. So, I'm so glad that she'll be able to be there with us.
And Blaine McDowell is with us, the principal of Chico Elementary School. Their farewell tour will be Monday, October 7th at 5 p.m. And Blaine, as you have gone through this first part of this transition, the second one coming in a couple of years, expected fall of 2026, the new Chico building will be open. How does that help you and your team inform how you hope to build those memories with these current students as their Chico Elementary students now having more of that context from the community about what this building, what those experiences in their past have meant to them?
Yeah, for sure. The neat thing about our school in particular, but I would really say West Bloomfield as a whole, that a building is a building, and we're super excited to have all of these great opportunities, all of the design. Everything that's in the building is very intentionally designed with learning everywhere. The theme of the building is going to be Michigan, and it's like if we could dream it, it's going to happen at this new building. So that is so exciting. So yeah, I think we're just like so on the right track. And like I said, a building is a building, but it's the people in it that make the building. So no matter if we're here or we were at the old Chico or the new Chico, the traditions of 5th grade camp and being a safety and kindergarten showcase, and when they come for the first time, all of those things are the traditions and the story that really makes the memory. So hopefully that kind of sheds some light that it truly is about the amazing staff and families in the building. But we are very excited to show you everything that's in store.
You'll be able to share a lot more of those memories with Blaine, with their current team from Chico, and some of the kids past and present from Chico and Green Elementary Schools. Monday, October 7th at 5 p.m. Blaine, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
A lot of great information and such a great interview from Tyler Keefe from Principal McDowell. Blaine taking you back down memory lane at Chico Elementary School, giving you an opportunity to walk through the halls and rekindle some of those memories. That'll be Monday, October 7th at 5 p.m., by the way. Go for more information, wbsd.org, wbsd.org. More things actually happening in schools with actual students in them. The West Bloomfield High School theater program actually presents The Rainbow Fish. It's a 45-minute play. It's an adaptation from the famous book, The Rainbow Fish, from Marcus Pfister, actually. Great event, or great book, I should say, going to translate into an even greater play. With us right here live on The Splash to talk about that play from the perspective of a director, we have the two student directors joining us, Celeste Knapp and Sarah Lorman. Appreciate you two for being here. And going right into it, Celeste, I want to start with you. How did you decide that you even wanted to become part of the play, The Rainbow Fish?
Last year, I was assistant directing kids show, and usually I'm an actor, so I think it was a really cool opportunity for me to branch out and do something new and help the newer actors find themselves in theater.
Interesting. You, Sarah, also?
As for me, I love Kids Show. I was a part of it for my freshman and sophomore year, and it was just tons of fun. So I also decided to assistant direct last year. And I'm always loving to build the program and looking for ways to connect with the people in the younger grades. And I think that Kids Show is just an amazing way to do that. And I also just love when the kids come to see the show. It's tons of fun.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, you get some of the younger kids that read the book, and now they want to actually see some of the older kids or older students actually bring it to life. I know that's very, very exciting too. But your roles as student directors are a little bit different from actually participating in it. So Celeste, starting with you, what's been the most rewarding part about directing this play so far, and what have you learned from that experience?
I think the most rewarding thing so far has definitely just been able to see the growth in the actors and seeing how far they come throughout the whole process. It's really great seeing people do what I love and then themselves loving it as well. What I've learned so far is probably just that things need to be fun and make things fun. And if you're having fun, the actors will also have a lot of fun with it.
There we go. Love to hear that. And with us right here live on The Splash from West Bloomfield High School Theater Program, student director Celeste Knapp and Sarah Lorman. Now, in case we're talking about a popular book, but in case someone has never read this book or heard of it, Sarah, can you please tell us what it is about?
So this story, I actually love this story. It was one of my favorite books when I was younger, and I think all of us were part of the show or read it when we were young, so really fun. It's basically about this really fancy fish, and he's got all of these really shimmery scales, and he's really arrogant and prideful of them, and he doesn't want to share them. But there's a little fish, a young school fish, and he asks, can I have one of your scales? Like, I admire you, I want to be like you. And Rainbow Fish freaks out and doesn't want to share. And throughout the whole show, it's basically about Rainbow Fish learning the importance of sharing and like the happiness that can come from sharing. The happiness can come to yourself and to the people that you're sharing with. So I think it has a really good moral to it.
No, I agree. I love it. And just as you were talking about it, I'm literally imagining the book in my head again. It's been so long since I read or saw that book. I'm like, man, I remember that book. Some of the books like literally had shiny parts in the book so you could see it and see it reflecting. So I don't know. You're just taking me back to my childhood with that one right there. With that being said, though, right? We know the story. We know you're directors of it. So let's look at it from that perspective a little bit more. Celeste, this is for you. With that being said, how did you approach bringing a very well-loved children's story to life on stage while keeping it engaging for the audience?
So for this show, we're using a lot of fun colors and just really interacting with the audience. We have people going through the audience, interacting with the kids, and really just trying to make it a wholesome experience for everyone.
There it is. There it is. I know it's a very interactive book, which means you have to bring a little bit of that interaction to the actual play and to the stage. And like I said, even reading the book, there's some colors and some fabrics that they use to make the colors pop and stand out. And I see that you're translating that to the stage with the vibrance of the colors, just from based off what you said. I love to hear and see that. Now, with that being said, directors, I want to focus on that because this is kind of like your introduction to directing in some sort of way, right? In the high school scale. So, Sarah, with you, are there any challenges that you faced in the process of getting this together from a director perspective? And talk about how you overcame them.
Well, I have only been doing like directing kind of things last year and this year. So obviously there was kind of a big learning curve. Like we had to learn how to work with younger actors. We, in our shows, have worked more with like experienced actors that are seniors and juniors now that have been doing this for a while. So it's really just learning how to sort of teach what we have been doing. And I mean, that's always a learning curve, right? Trying to learn how to teach something. So definitely coming with that. But we work a lot together and we get a lot of advice and input from people that are experienced in the area, our own director. So that really does help.
Nice. Yeah. And like you said, you're a little bit familiar with the directing position already, being there for a few already. But ultimately, like you said, just dealing with maybe the experience of the actors and things of that nature, I know that will probably that's a huge learning curve. I could only imagine. So much respect to you for getting that done and having the patience for it too. Either one of you can answer this. Actually, I'll keep this for Celeste. How do you feel like incorporating the backstage pass portion of it? Because if I'm not mistaken, you're allowing some of the viewers to come backstage and meet some of the actors. How do you feel like that actually helps incorporate or make the experience a little bit better for the children or anyone that's actually there to view the play?
So I know when I was younger, I always saw like the actors on stage, even if I was going to my sister's show, as like a celebrity. So I think a lot of the kids would be very, very excited to go backstage, meet all their favorite actors, get their little signed playbill, and take pictures with them. I think they would just really enjoy that, and it is just something they wouldn't forget.
Nice. That's so funny that you say that because elementary, middle school kids, they looking up to high school kids like adults, like y'all are the big kids, and like you said, they'll probably look at you like role models, celebrities, and oh my goodness. I'm just sorry, I'm just thinking about that. That's hilarious. Don't want to hold you two up too much longer. I appreciate it. Last question, and I'll actually one question for each of you. Sarah, starting with you. What message do you want the audience to take away from this play when they leave?
I think the main message is like just the cliche line, sharing is caring. I want these kids to come in, younger kids, it's an important lesson for them to learn. And I want them to come in and see like, oh, you have all these special things about you and they're amazing. But, you know, like the world, it's not revolving around you. Other people, your friends, they're important and you have to share.
That's right. That's right. And Celeste, just ending with you, just give out the details of the play in the event again and why people should come.
So the details of the event, it's October 5th, 2 p.m. at WBHS, West Bloomfield High School. You can get tickets at wbhstheaterarts.ludus.com. It's $5 cash for the backstage pass and $7.50 for the credit card. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope to see you all there.
Yay. Very exciting, very energetic. Can't wait for it to go on so we can go out there and support it. Once again, from West Bloomfield High School, student directors Celeste Knapp, Sarah Lorman, thank you both for your time and for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, tell me you remember the Rainbow Fish book. How could you not? At such a young age, it was a very influential book, I should say, overall. So make sure you head over there, West Bloomfield High School, October 5th, this Saturday. 2 p.m. is when it starts. Tickets are only $5. That's with cash. If you are using your card, there's going to be a $2.50 charge, so bring that up to $7. And if you want to go backstage pass, an additional $5. But make sure you support. If you're watching on CivicCenterTV.com right now, make sure you get your smartphone, get your camera out, and scan that QR code, and it'll take you directly to the link so you can purchase those tickets and get more information regarding that. So thank you, Celeste and Sarah, for joining us right here. Now, there are other things going on locally in the community, but we know that election time is coming up very, very soon. And it's very important for you to be kept up to date on different things going on regarding ballots, absentee ballots, and mailers that are coming in also. So with us right here live on The Splash, we want to welcome West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder, giving us a little bit more information regarding these third-party applications. So starting off, Debbie, if you don't mind, how do you ensure that absentee ballot applications that we are receiving from these third-party companies are properly validated for our voters?
There isn't a question of security because what they are is applications. So if they are to get turned into us, we're going to enter it into the qualified voter file and notice that the voter has either, they also send registrations. Either the voter has already registered and or possibly already requested an absentee ballot application. So there's no security issue whatsoever to these applications at all. The issue is that it does confuse the voters, and that's where we kind of battle, when they get those, and we'll have people that say, I got 7 ballots, but they didn't get 7 ballots. They got 7 applications. Now, the reality with those third-party applications or contacts is that people do have the right to send them. Between free speech and using Freedom of Information Act to obtain the information about the voter list, they do have the right to send them. So we have to make sure we're educating voters so they know when they receive them that they may or may not be from their actual clerk's office. When we send an application or a registration form or an application, it has a barcode on it. Typically, we can scan something in for the voter. It has created a lot of work for us because we'll get in these applications, people don't remember or they don't think they filled it out. So we'll go to enter it in manually, and we discover that it's maybe the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th one that we've received for that person. So, but what they are is many of them are legitimate, and they're really just trying to get out the vote or get people to register. But these lists that have been obtained using Freedom of Information Act requests have been sold, merged, shared. In over time, the lists have just little things that make them not quite accurate. So people may get, these forms that are registered because there's some anomaly. They are legitimate registration forms. Typically, and I can't think of a counterexample, they're addressed back to your correct clerk. So again, it is a legitimate contact. It just does confuse our voters. And I did get a call, I know the one that you have on your screen was concerning to somebody because they thought taxpayer money was being used to send that. But that was a third-party contact that did a lot of just using the governor's name and trying to make it look like it was official. But the reality is it was sent by a third party interest group that wanted to get out the vote. So the best thing to do when you get these these mailers or these things you're uncertain about is one, Google the name of who actually sent it. Now on that one, on the return address, it had Governor Whitmer, but if you read the bottom of it, it said the Voter Something Project. And if you Google that, you'll find out that it's a third-party, non-governmental entity that was sending it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
yes.
that's it.
No. I appreciate that information. So there's a little bit of digging, a little bit of investigating that you have to do, but ultimately, I'm glad you provided that clarification regarding this. These ballots from these third parties are legit. They have the right to legally do that. But like you said, they're not ballots, they're ballot applications. So I just want to make sure
or registration forms.
There we go. So they aren't legit ballots. They aren't being funded by taxpayer money or anything of that nature. So I appreciate that clarification. With us right here live on the Splash, by the way, West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder, debunking some of the myths and misconceptions when it comes to these absentee ballots and absentee ballot applications coming from third parties. Now, real quick, I know there is something regarding to validation with signatures and things of that nature. You kind of explained it a little bit, but can you go into more detail into the process your office follows to match the voter signatures on absentee ballot application and how it maintains the integrity during the election?
I am glad you asked that. That's a really good question because it's something people don't realize either. And we have, when we do get a ballot back or an application and we do verify the signature against the one that we have in the qualified voter file, the one that we have in the qualified voter file is the signature that the person used on their driver's license or on their state ID.
Okay.
Now we have a couple of populations in particular, our 18 to 25-year-olds who are maturing their signature, so those signatures change. Or, sometimes we have elderly people who may develop some kind of a physical, problem that changes their signature. They are able to put an alternate signature on file with the clerk's office that we would be able to accept as well. But we are checking it against what we have on your license. We did have a mother and son one year that wondered why their ballot was rejected, and it turned out that they tried to sign their signature very carefully on their ballot, which didn't match what was on their license at all. And unfortunately, they did not get the messages. We do try to contact anybody that has a signature issue, whether it's not signed or the signature doesn't match. We're contacting them by email, mail if there's time, and phone calls. So we do try to catch them and give them the opportunity to cure whatever the signature deficiency would be. Right. But we didn't reach them in this case. And the other thing that's good to know is that, it doesn't have to be your full name as it is. When you register online, it has to be the name exactly as it is on your driver's license. When you sign your ballot, like if I were to write D. Binder instead of writing out my entire name, but the characteristics of the writing were clearly mine, then we would accept that. And I did put my own alternate signature on file because I looked at my signature one day and said, I wouldn't take that. So I put my own alternate signature, but that is an option.
Right.
Important things to know with that is the voter actually has to vote the ballot and have a mark, whatever alternate signature it is. Power of attorney does not transfer for voting, and neither does these ballots will not forward. So those are two important things for people to know.
No, that was real good to know. Power of attorney doesn't work with voting and things of that nature. That's very great information. It's also good that you kept in mind for the younger voters who may be, like you said, or even the older voters who may be redeveloping their signature. I remember that phase in my life where I was just trying to get my signature down pat. So I could imagine a different entities that's probably looking like, this is a different signature from before. So I love that you all do your due diligence. Debbie, we appreciate your time being here, all the information. Any additional information regarding voting, election day, or absentee ballots that you want to let the community know about?
Well, I would let people know in the community who are watching, we will be putting the absentee ballots in the mail today. We were going to take them to the Metroplex, which is the post office in Pontiac. We will be delivering 17,500 ballots to the Metroplex today. So if you have already requested an absentee ballot, watch your mail. If you don't get it within the next 2 weeks, you may want to call our office to see if, to confirm that we have sent it. And if we haven't, it hasn't arrived, we can spoil it and issue you a new one. You may obtain an absentee ballot up to 4 p.m. the Monday prior to the election.
Okay.
So now that 4 p.m. is a hard stop. It's statutory, so I cannot hand you one at 4:01. So you'd have to be here by 4 p.m. on Monday. And also important to remember, Kevin, which is actually very exciting, because I was typically a precinct voter because I like to get my sticker.
Yeah.
But I am now a convert to early voting. It is so convenient at the West Bloomfield Library for anyone in West Bloomfield, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, or Orchard Lake. Our Oakland County is providing the service for the local clerks, so Lisa Brown is overseeing it. And it's been a tremendous help, and it is so easy for people who want to.
We want to thank Debbie Binder for coming on the show and giving us that great information. For more regarding ballot applications and absentee ballots, visit wbtownship.org for more information. We appreciate you for being here. I'm your host for today, Kevin McIntosh, and I approve this message. We are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.